Welcome to Turn a Page, the official comic book club for Nerd Initiative. Each week, the NI Bullpen will be covering the world of comics, talking to creators, deep diving into some fantastic stories, and much more. Now let's hand it over to the team and turn a page.
And what is going on, everyone? It is Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you are tuned in to the Nerd Initiative Comic Book Club, known worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide, indeed.
Mr. 305.
Because that is the kind of mood we are in right now, because plans are happening behind the scenes. So trust us, if you
Can't
are not
keep us down.
yeah, exactly. The bullpen is strong right now, and that's all we're going to kind of allude to that.
Our midichlorians are off the scale.
Yes, absolutely.
Damn it.
What is going on, everyone? My name is Ken M. You know me as the host of the ODPH podcast. I'm also Nerd Initiative Editor-in-Chief. To my left, you're right at home. He does his own intro because it's in his contract.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, straight from a folding chair in the ODPH studios. My name's Off the Cuff Tom, Nerd Initiative's pop culture connoisseur. Ken, Matt, all you Jedi out there, it's always a pleasure.
And joining us as well, the other co-host of Turn a Page, you know him as one half of the dynamic duo of Drafts and Dialogue, bringing you that pop culture dialogue you need to know each and every single week. It's the one and only assistant editor of comics himself, Matt Roth from Hopsgeeks News. Matt, what is going on?
What's up, guys? It is a fantastic night. We're talking Star Wars. You know, I got the Roosevelt Star Wars drip on as always. Star Wars is like my favorite property of all time. Tom came dressed as Red 5. You know, we are here. We're talking some High Republic because the Acolyte drops next week. And dude, the High Republic is High Republic, low key. Charles Soule out here doing some really good stuff with the High Republic.
So much soul.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I have to sit here and represent the New York Rangers because we are Rangers.
Turn it off.
I don't give a puck.
Yes, Blue Shirt Nation, stand the puck up. The game is going on, but that does not slow us down here at the Nerd Initiative Bullpen. No, once again, the hardest working team in comics is doing their thing. So let's get the business out of the way first and foremost. Wherever you're watching us, thank you very much. But we really are emphasizing you make sure you drop that subscribe button on YouTube, because there's a homework assignment we give to everybody each and every week. And that is to make sure you're subscribed to Nerd Initiative YouTube, where you get exclusive content, exclusive shows. Exclusive is the key word. So you definitely want to make sure you're not missing out on that. Hit that subscribe button. Click that bell notification for the latest and greatest going on in the channel. And make sure to tap that thumbs up for the bosses to know that you like the programming you are seeing on Nerd Initiative and you want to see more of it. It's that simple, folks. We make it very, very simple for everybody.
Man. Just tap it in. Just tap it in.
Tap it in.
Tap. But we also want to make sure you're signed up for the newsletter, because what is going on in Nerd Initiative in 2024, I wish I could divulge to the masses about what's happening. But there is a lot of plans in the works. There's new programming that's happening, such as the TV talk every Monday night with yours, the one and only Tom. Next
I got more too. I just can't say. I'm so excited.
Exactly.
I'm going to bust out my power coins.
Stay tuned for that. We also have a brand new show that's dropping this Wednesday. So if you want to know more about that, you got to hit that subscribe button for that as well. Plus, a lot more coming in the summer, let alone the rest of 2024. So you want to click on the QR code. If you don't know, Nerd Initiative loves their QR codes. So you don't click on that. Make sure to sign up for the newsletter and you don't miss anything going on in the land of pop culture positivity. And also, because it's contractually obligated, we want to make sure that you sign up. Go get some Nerd Initiative merchandise, because you know what?
Wear your nerd on your sleeve.
Exactly. Con season is fastly approaching for everybody, and we definitely want to make sure that if you're going out to the cons this summer, this fall, that you're supporting the brand and everything that is going on with it, because obviously we have a lot going on at Nerd Initiative, and we want to keep that ball rolling.
I got a pun. We can have a confluence of people wearing Nerd Initiative gear.
What he said.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, why not? I mean, I have my hoodie, I got my hat. Dude, if you're not repping the brand to let everybody know, like, you're with the cool kids, what are you doing?
You're waving in the reeds.
We give you only marginally biased takes, especially when it comes to our favorite things, which is a lot more than some other places can say.
This is very, very true. We give you the honest takes that nobody else is doing, because we are the fans that really are listening to everybody talking. We want to try having those positive conversations, ignore all the toxicity that's going on, and really give you the content that you deserve, being fans and really celebrating that fandoms, because nobody else is doing it like Nerd Initiative, period. But you came here not to hear us rant and rave about how great Nerd Initiative is, because that's why you can sign up for the newsletter. You came here to talk some Star Wars.
Bam, bam.
And we are talking about a certain story that came out by Marvel in just last year. So, Matt, why don't you break down what are we going to be talking about tonight?
Yeah, so we are going to be talking Shadow of Starlight. It is a quick 4-issue run. We will be talking about issue number 1, of course. Now, Charles Soule is the writer, as he has really kicked off the entire Star Wars High Republic for Marvel in this new age. The artist, Ibrahim Robertson, colorist, Fernando Cifuentes Sujo, and letterer, Travis Lanham. And the publisher was Marvel. Dude, the trade recently came out this year. Takes place right after the Starlight beacon has been destroyed, essentially, and Jedi are feared dead, missing. There are thousands dead, and so we kind of pick up the story from there. It's very, very good story.
Indeed. So what we're going to be doing, if you're new to the show, first and foremost, thank you for checking us out on a Tuesday night. We definitely do appreciate it. What we're going to be breaking down is this story. We're going to give you a spoiler-free statement of what we're going to be discussing. Then we do a deep dive right into everything. So if you haven't been spoiled, and you want to have that knowledge about how great this story is, we're going to give it to you. We're going to round out talking about what we didn't like about the book, and then give our grades on this, and then come up with the overall grade about where we think this book ranks on a scale from 1 to 10. So chat, super chat, wherever you're listening, watching us at home, you definitely want to make sure that you're active and involved, because like we say on the chat here, who wants to talk some Star Wars? Because I think we all do.
Obviously. Talk Star Wars, I do.
Yes. So that being said, Tom, we'll start with you. Give us your spoiler-free statement about the High Republic Shadows of Starlight.
Different but familiar. It's I'm an OG guy, and when I mean OG, I mean original 9 trilogy, whatever the heck it's called. So to get a story out of the Skywalker saga, if anybody knows me, it is one of my biggest things and biggest pet peeves. I love stories outside of the Skywalker saga. I like the fact that Rebels started off real strong out on the Outer Rim, and then, oh, look, it's Ahsoka. Still ultimately cool, but then we tied in and did that blows up. So to get something outside of all that, praise be to the midichlorians.
Indeed.
Dude, I'm with you, man. I love Star Wars, man. And, we have enough of the Skywalker saga. And I think what is very easy to forget is there are thousands and thousands of years. This goes back to the Old Republic, where there was a great Jedi versus Sith war, which sounds way cooler than some whining teenage boy who's lovesick. What? I mean, really, like the Jedi versus the Sith, that's awesome. And then the High Republic is the waning years of the Jedi glory.
But what's worse, being lovesick or hating sand?
It just gets everywhere. And it's fun playing with, like, it expands the universe because there's so much lore you can go into. So the fact that we for a while keep circling around the same characters, it's refreshing to see somebody like Charles and his team and Marvel kind of take on these. I mean, Yoda is in this, don't get me wrong. Yoda's old, so he's kind of in this, but you get a lot of fresh new faces, fresh new stories, a lot of different directions. Now the High Republic, it's an era of Star Wars where there weren't hyperspace lanes, there weren't back to tanks. There's a lot of ancient methods, a lot of, like, the Outer Rim, for example, a lot of that stuff was still unexplored during the High Republic. So you get to see a lot of fresh things, and it's really awesome.
It's almost in its infancy at some points. Well, we know it's its infancy.
Yeah,
right.
Like I say, for me, this is my first time delving into this, and I was really impressed about the little setup going on here, because for me, seeing how the Jedi are working, in an area that really is unfamiliar, it proves for a very cool dynamic, and especially with Yoda, who is a very central character of this story. It really shows that maybe he's not the perfect Jedi master that we all think he is. And he goes through these trials and tribulations as the story
I hate
goes
Yoda
on.
so much, dude. I hate Yoda. I don't like Yoda. I just had to get that off my chest.
Explain.
All right. Yoda is...
wait. Let me preface this. Do you not like Yoda in this iteration, or do you not like Yoda in the whole...
I don't like him as a character, period.
Okay.
And my reasoning is he was part of the reason the Jedi he was just as much as the reason the Jedi fell. He was so stubborn. He was so set in his old religious ways, to a fault. And he didn't have to be. I mean, I get it. That's what he was. He's 900 years old. That's the only thing he's basically ever known, because Jedi take you as an infant, and it's just he thought himself so wise. And then I also feel like he could have done so much more against Palpatine, I think, and he just was part to blame, along with Mace Windu, for the fall of the Jedi. Their hubris.
Thank you.
He very much. I mean, even in this book, we're going to talk about it. Yoda is making poor decisions without the council's. He doesn't talk to. He just makes decisions, and that's kind of just, again, goes to his hubris. And so he's a very flawed character. And yeah, he's kooky, he's goofy when he's training Luke Skywalker. But no, dude, Yoda was kind of an a-hole in that too. Like, the galaxy's at stake. You just don't be cryptic, man. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. It's just, I don't like him. I just don't.
I think I need to come over on your channel, and we need to have a conversation.
Anytime.
On the mirror sides, the flip sides of the same coin. I think I'm down.
Hey, well, that'll be for a future episode. But for tonight, I mean, we're going to have to just deep dive into, a very intriguing story in the Star Wars universe. And it starts off with the traditional crawl.
Yeah.
I mean, how cool is this moment to see? I mean, especially in the comics, Tom.
It's fantastic. I mean, that you've got Star Wars fans getting this book, because to pick this up as, say, your first time out in comic books is not, I would say personally, it would be very intimidating. As much as we do still say, next time you're at the shop, blah, 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 turn a page. It's still a very intimidating thing. Like, I know Star Wars. Oh, what's the High Republic? Oh, it's got Yoda. Great. Where's everybody else? Next thing you know, 5 pages and it's in the trash. I'm not saying I would do that.
Well, no, some people very much, they only know the Skywalker saga. So when you're picking up the High Republic and you're expecting to see, like, oh, those familiar faces, and you don't, you're like, oh, well, what is this exactly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, why is there a yellow lightsaber? Why is there a purple lightsaber? But I mean, we know why there's a purple lightsaber, because it's one BAMF, which is on his lightsaber hilt.
But as we kick into the story right from the crawl, I mean, Matt, we see this going on, and talk about making an opening splash on the first page. What is your reaction seeing this?
They start out strong. Star Wars loves starting out with some epic, grand thing. If you watch the movies, mostly it's like a big, grand Attack of the Clones starts out with explosions. Revenge of the Sith, very same thing. Once the crawl's over, there's a big space battle.
It's the Imperial.
Episode 5, again, a big space battle, or not space battle, but Battle of Hoth. So Star Wars always likes to kick it off with some big, grand thing happening.
Would that be a cold open?
It could be. But this one starts off with the Starlight Beacon, which has been a place for refugees to converge and Jedi to converge in a safe haven. It's up in flames and it's crashing, and it's about to kill a lot of people.
Yeah. And then as we see, when it's going down like this, we get this big splash page going on, and we're really seeing how the Jedi are getting called away during the moment here. And this is something that kind of threw me for a loop, that the beacon is just so important that even during a rescue mission, they're leaving everybody stranded. I mean, Tom, when you're seeing this unfold, like, what's popping through your head about this?
So un-Jedi.
Yeah.
I mean, I get, women and children first. I get, save the younglings.
I have a child.
Okay. Thanks, Billy Zane. Go back to being the Phantom.
Oh, jeez.
But anyhow,
yeah,
it's just, it is what it is. It's so out of character to what we believe the Jedi are. Again, coming in from where we know Star Wars at. It's a hard pill to swallow, but at the same time, in war and in battle, that's what you got to do, And one big thing that I do know from the Knights, or from the High Republic, because I was a fan of the Old Republic games, so I have a little bit of knowledge. And Matt, tell me if I'm wrong. If I am literally centuries apart, please put me in my place. But at this point in Jedidom. There's a new word for you, ladies and gentlemen. Jedidom.
Yeah.
They really did have all the different ideas of what it takes to be a Jedi all covered. You had artisans, you had people that worked in medicine, you had all these different clans. I mean, Matt, what was the proper term for it?
Yeah, I mean, they had
Sects?
basically wayfinders, which they weren't Jedi, but they wielded the Force and they believed in the Force, and so they were allowed to do their own thing essentially. So they weren't strictly Jedi, which Jedi have to live by certain codes, and they're basically monks. The Jedi very much tout themselves as protectors at this point, which from that scene, they're not very protecting. They're all called back to Coruscant. And it's like, dude, your one job is to help people and you're not helping people. But yeah, the Wayfinders essentially are at this time period, the Sith are all but extinct.
Mhm.
The Great Sith versus Jedi War has been long over, and the Sith have gone into hiding. They're not like gone, but they're in hiding. So Jedi don't have any problems except for the Nile, which we're going to get into. And yeah, they're not very cash money of them to just leave those stranded to run back to Coruscant.
Yeah, I have to agree. Like I say, this was just kind of I don't want to say startling, but it was kind of like an eyebrow raising moment that they're willing to sacrifice this, country that needs help to just go back to Coruscant because, obviously the beacon falls. And it's like, that's really not the Jedis we know. Like the Jedis are supposed to be some noble and then such. And then you get this scene that plays out here. And Matt, why don't you walk us through this?
Yeah, so in this, the senators and all the politicians allow the Jedi to take this grand room that we've seen a million times, and their whole thing is this is really the first time now this great tragedy has happened. They're meant to be protectors, but now the discussion is on the table. Hey, what if we go on the attack and we eradicate this force of nature that is so hell-bent on destroying us? What if we go out there and we lead missions to attack them? And the whole argument burst out. That's like, whoa, that's not what we're about. We're Jedi. We're not soldiers. And this is really the first time. I don't say that it's the first time post Sith War, so it's been hundreds of years that the Jedi are now kind of being used as soldiers, which is very interesting. How the Clone Wars ends up, they become soldiers and they're very quick to it. But this is like the very first time you're seeing these discussions, and the Jedi aren't very cool with it. Like, that's not who we are. But that's this whole discussion, this big grand room is taking place because there's so many Jedi, man. There's thousands upon thousands of Jedi. They're at the height of their power.
Yeah, like it's wild to see how this all that kind of shakes up, especially like hearing what's coming out of their mouth. It's like, what? I mean, Tom, your reaction.
To quote another star-based series, and just look at it as a perspective, because this is what I do. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And as much as it's a hard pill to swallow, I think that's what the Jedi were doing at this point.
Quite possibly. Like I say, it was just a startling take on this.
Yep. Oh, agreed. Totally agreed.
And it even leads into where we go next, and that is tying into a little protocol action, which I mean, just the reaction you're seeing here. This is a moment that really kind of throws everything off a little bit, because when they're talking about activating protocols.
Who doesn't love child soldiers?
Yeah, like I'm just like, this is a recipe for disaster happening here. And I love how they give it the big panel too, like I say, to really kind of emphasize the moment, because you're seeing just how the reaction is amongst the crowd, and then just like how they're all buying into it and really seeing where it's shaping up, and how they try ending with the Force be with us all. It's like, well, you're really trying to implement something here, and I'm not sure if everybody's buying into it.
No, it's total. I mean, for lack of better words, propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Okay, so to parallel it to modern life, right? 9/11. This is kind of like the 9 where we rallied for war and we want justice right away. It's kind of what that's to me, that's how I like relate things in my mind. And you kind of see the parallels where there's this big rally of like, we need action. We need it now. We don't care where we're pointing it out. We just need this. And then another thing is, like, on the other side of the spectrum is they're talking about sending Padawans, like equipping Padawans who are very much not trained. to battle themselves, and the Padawans there are even like scared. I mean, they're, hey, whoa, we're not supposed to do this. We're kids.
But even
They
a blunt
need-
knife still cuts.
Exactly. And that's the whole Jedi method is like, hey, you know, we need as many Jedi as humanly possible to make this happen. Because it doesn't matter. They're basically cannon fodder. It's kind of how the Jedi are viewing it in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's just like this weird rally cry, and it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's falling on deaf ears, but you're just kind of seeing just like everybody is so wound up at the moment because obviously with the Starlight Beacon going down, it's like, well, we have to react. We have to do something. And they're kind of just really blaming without going into details about what happened. And like I say, to see the Jedis who we've seen so much in the movies and the TV shows as like the cool, calm, collective demeanors, just really acting. I don't know if frantic is the right word, but
No, I think it's the right word. There they are.
Like-
They're not acting. They're not thinking. They need a
Impulsive.
response now. They're very.
Impulsive.
Thank you, Tom. Yes, impulsive.
yeah, and it's just like I haven't seen them act like this before. And to see how it kind of transpires, like you're just seeing them getting more wound up. And even where we go to the next scene where it's like they say they're starting to plan about, you know, getting weapons ready. And it's just kind of like an interesting take about how things are shaping up here. Because as you're seeing the sabers are getting made and just everybody's having this like very calm, you know, like uncertainty about what's unfolding is really kind of giving like a little perspective about just how mixed the reaction to this is and how like it doesn't seem like everybody's excited to do this.
It's not just that. I mean, this is literally the reality of war as it hits your brainstem.
Mhm.
You know, any one of us who have served, we've all had that moment.
Mhm.
Whether you have to have that, you know, because you have to have that realization that at some point it could be me or them, and you come level with the universe, and that's the best way I can put it.
Well, I think the
know?
number one thing in war, right, is the propaganda machine that you're seeing with like the Jedi. You have to basically dehumanize your enemy because you want to take that human aspect, because you want your soldiers, quote unquote, you know, talking Star Wars still, to not have any humanity about them while they're attacking and destroying the enemy. Like the goal is to destroy the enemy, wipe them out, and make them lose. And so you take away that humanization, if you will, and that's kind of what they're doing here. And they're building these very quick lightsabers, you see, and then there's that shot in that sequence where they're looking at the wall of hoping that maybe somebody's going to come off that missing list. It's that realization of war that is so true, both in.
And you, sir, you had to talk about 9/11. Now I got like Toby Keith stuck in my head, and all I hear are church bells.
Well, I mean, this I paralleled
Nope.
it because
Hey,
you kind of
hey,
saw
Uncle
similar,
Yoda.
right? Like,
Oh my God.
Hey,
the-
Uncle Yoda put the Sith at the top of his list, and the storm clouds are saying no more hyperspace shit.
well, I mean, it's really like that whole parallel because there's this big, it kills thousands, and
I'll be here all
so
week.
rather than rationally think, everybody wants to respond right away, and so the Jedi are, and that's their plan, is to irrationally send everybody that they got after this group of being that don't believe in anything.
Yeah, like I say, it's just, you know, irrational is just kind of the key word, or just impulsive, and just how they're getting wound up. And you're just, and I like how Soul just kind of weaves everybody in about this, and we see just the different perspectives going in, because usually you see, you know, in the movies, you know, such a united front on both sides, whether you're Team Jedi or Team Empire. So when you're seeing all this kind of shape up, it really does add a little bit into, you know, what is happening here. And
Yeah.
like I say,
Hi,
oh,
Mom.
oh, we got some people in the chat definitely shouting out.
That's
appreciate
my
Donna.
mom.
Oh, nice.
Hey, that's my friend,
Yes.
Hey, that's my
my
friend.
co-host, Lauren.
Yes, Lauren is picking up the song about the Tom sing along. So I love seeing this.
I can keep going.
Lauren can go on the country road with you. I cannot.
I have a funny story about country and karaoke. We'll have to talk about it at New York Comic Con.
Yes,
Yes.
we will talk about that at a later date. But going into back to the story here too, and chat, super chat, definitely throw your picks in if you read this, man. Well, I want to definitely have everybody interacting about this. We do see how Yoda is bringing somebody to the party.
Hooded Roby has.
Yes, and Matt, why don't you walk us through this sequence of events?
Yeah, so they're talking like, man, nobody's seen Yoda in how long now? And lo and behold, they turn around and oh look, there he is. Never mind. And he's walking with this mysterious figure. You don't know who this mysterious figure is yet. However, the duo are standing there and they're like, I don't know who this figure is, but I don't like him already. He gives off this bad aura. But if he's walking with Master Yoda, all must be kosher. And they're going into the Jedi Council where we are about to find out just who this hooded individual is and why they might not be feeling a certain type of way towards him.
Yeah. Tom, what's your reaction when you're seeing this?
Look, as much as this is where the blind trust came in for me, because the original series, Yoda's got a plan. Yoda's doing something. Okay, go ahead, Yoda. That was it. Like, that's that blind faith that you were talking about, Matt. I don't know Yoda well enough at this point of his life. We know the kooky old guy in the swamp. We know the Muppet version, but this comic version, no. And even for what we saw in the Clone Wars, both series, it's a different Yoda. I mean, having someone that's lived almost a whole millennium, you literally have lived many lives.
He's in like his 50s at this point. Yeah.
Is it weird for me to say that this felt like Yoda year one? It was just kind of like, in this sense, it almost seems like a blind reaction to like what's going on, that his just overconfidence is carrying him through.
Well, I mean, that's Yoda. He's blindly trusting, and it's his flaw, man. He's so bent on living this perfect religion that he can't see beyond the cloud of smoke that he lives in, so to speak. That veil that he has pulled in front of his eyes.
I think year one's a little too young, a little too presumptuous. I would say where Yoda is at this point is very much where Qui-Gon was in episode 1.
Okay.
Agreed.
Like he knows what he's got. He's at the F around find out, and he's more on the find out than the F around. So I think he's given off very much that, I've been to scale a Jedi Master for 20 some odd years, but we're going to scale it to Yoda time. So yeah, I think he's definitely overcompensating. Maybe it's a Yoda-Polian complex.
It could be. Shout out to Megan in the chat.
I don't like Yoda. I said it.
Yeah.
I like today. I had a great day today. How about you?
Today was something. Yeah.
Yeah. The Yoda. Yeah. The Yoda. Are you team Yoda? Or are you not? We definitely want to get those votes in the chat. We'll try making the poll out of this after.
I'm team Muppet Yoda, not CGI Yoda. Let's get that real clear.
I'm team Grogu, not team Yoda.
You know what? I'm team the Jedi were wrong. So there's that. Take that for what you will.
Hey, baby, do the hand thing.
Megan, we can still vibe well. Don't let this ruin a good thing. Just understand that all good relationships, everybody's going to disagree at least once. You can't have it perfectly. That's what makes
exactly.
And as perfect friendship.
And as long as at the end of the day, we're all friends, we all have a beverage, we're all good. And Matt knows how to choose a beverage.
I did, actually.
The chat is getting very lively about this, but definitely shout out to Vigilante Vibes podcast. Everybody should be following them too.
Yes. But yeah, well, what happens once they go?
Oh my God, did you see what Lauren said in the chat?
Dooku was right. Dooku tried to tell. Listen, Dooku saw. That's a whole other conversation. We're getting off track. All right, come on.
Well, let's say that we prompted the chat and the chat took over, but that's what we want here. That's why this is interactive television streaming on your favorite platforms, folks. That's what we do here.
We're not experts. We want to hear from you. We want to hear from you, the people.
But then when we get to the story, well, we do find out who this mysterious
Madam Web
is. Oh my God, no. Could you imagine? Could you imagine?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. I'll see you on Monday night.
But we do see that Yoda has brought somebody to the party. And we do see that this stranger definitely is not winning over fans any stretch of the imagination, because we have Azun Rel showing up. And we find out that, well, he has a little something going on with him that really doesn't make him stand out too much with the Jedi in the favor. He's embraced the dark side.
He did.
So, Tom, your thoughts on this revelation?
Not surprised. I mean, if everybody's getting the cold vibe from him, I'm not surprised he's using the dark side of the Force.
But he's reformed, man. All right, that's the whole point. He's reformed.
Yeah, so is Kylo, right? Or too little, too late.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, like I say, in this situation, it's like, yeah, I know Star Wars does teeter around the redemption arc here, but to see this kind of come into play too,
But
especially
not everybody needs freaking redemption.
well, that's the whole
Let
thing.
a bad guy be a bad guy.
That's the
Thank
whole
you.
thing here too, because as you're seeing it play out, it's like they're trying to do this redemption. You see the reaction that was in the screen there, that once he does his reveal,
I like
you
how
see-
the Jedi are like, how dare you?
yeah, like how do they not sense this being the Jedis?
Again, the Jedi are so bad, right? Like they couldn't sense that this dark force user was right in their eyes. They worked like again, the Jedi just cannot get over their own hubris.
Exactly. They were blind to what was right in front of their face.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that they continuously do over
History
and over
repeats.
and over. And I mean, and it plays out here too, because as Yoda's trying to sit there and make some sense of it, because they're questioning him, we do have this, very weird back and forth. At least I thought it was weird that, he brings him in, he's blindly trusting him, but then decides to go kind of tap into his mind and gets taken down into some places that are a little questionable. Would you say, Matt?
Oh yeah, I mean he ends up in like a metaphorical lightsaber duel in this guy's mind, and he's like, let's try again tomorrow. That was a bit much too soon. Well, Yoda, you should be playing around in people's brains first of all, especially one who wields the dark side of the Force that you guys are so worried about all the time.
Mm-hmm. Tom?
Dude is pretty much like that buddy you had from high school that you left in high school. He came back and, hey man, yo, you want to go we got a sixer. We're gonna go down to the
I promise you, he's changed.
Hey, yeah. I mean, I'm not with her anymore. Like we had 4 kids, and yeah, I pay my child.
It's all her
Yeah,
fault.
I'm good. Yeah. And she was seeing somebody else on Tinder. Nah, man, dude. You are who you are, and it's gonna play out that way.
For me watching this,
You had flashbacks of high school too?
no, I had flashbacks to X-Men, because this is some Charles Xavier nonsense
Yeah,
that he
it
does,
is.
and he is the root of all mutant problems. But that's for another conversation.
God,
But
Charles Xavier, another person I don't like.
yeah, I'm right there with you. But you see how this kind of transpires, because Yoda is messing around in somebody's head that he should not be messing around in. And I understand about having the blind trust in the Force, but in this circumstance, when you have so much tension amongst the Jedis about having the Starlight beacon taken out, that you're literally going like, what are we doing? And like everybody's at such a pitch to go swing their lightsabers at anything that moves, to really kind of tamper with this, I just thought was such an odd play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To put it mildly, because Yoda, for being the wisest of them all, just really does a very, very foolish move.
But again, was he the wisest of them all at this point? Again, we're what,
Never
150?
was the wisest of them all. Well, you got to think he's at least 700 years old at this point, because if he died, he was 900 years old in Empire. This takes place about 132 years BBY. So he's in his like 700s. He's old.
Still not learned.
He never learns. I told you this. Come on.
Well, but that's been a tragic flaw of his too. It's just the overconfidence, which you do see a lot with the Jedis. Let's be honest about it. They all think because they have the Force, they can run crazy, and like they're pretty much untouchable. And then when they make a mistake of this kind of gravitas, it really comes back to haunt them.
My bad.
Yeah, like how do you come back from this? And that's the biggest question we all have with this.
Ow! Oh, Ken hit me. You all saw that, right? You saw that he hit me. That's my Jedi impression.
Yeah, basically. But it goes to transpire too, because as everybody's trying to figure out what's going on, we do get more of Yoda just kind of analyzing everything and seeing a little bit of fighting happening here too. And I mean, the next couple stages, it just really is escalating to where Yoda's trying to get involved and then go investigate. And at this point, like we said, tensions are running so extremely high that when we get to space, we do see that there's a little apprehension from the crew that's out there investigating. And when they get out there, What do they find but this?
Chaos.
Yeah, Matt, walk us through this.
Well, it turns out the guy you trusted, you really shouldn't have trusted because he's over here giddy about the fact that you're exploding. And, they have Ryota's like, quick, somebody call for backup. And he's over here like, no, 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 it's supposed to happen. And who could have seen this coming? Who could have seen this coming?
Yeah,
The guy with the Madam Web glasses.
He's definitely got the Madam Web glasses.
this is true. There's no escape. There's no escaping.
First of all, that should have told you all you need to know right then and there. You should not have. That's not a guy you hang out with. But
yeah. But then again, this is something the Jedis do all the time.
Always.
I mean, Tom, when you're watching this unfold, what's going through your mind?
Duh.
Yeah. I mean, that's the easiest way to describe it. The fact that Yoda is getting completely played out here by somebody that is literally playing chess while he's playing checkers.
Thank you. I was just about to say that.
And especially for the Jedi who are just kind of, the apprehension that was there first when Yoda's bringing in a complete stranger, that they all had right to be worried. And as you see, the more that they delved into the mind, and like I say, I know that we didn't show a lot of those images on screen, but it pretty much goes back to the same thing. There is a problem taking place, and Yoda is just kind of ignoring it and just saying, well, more or less like it's a bad dream, which is a weird stance, especially with the climate it's in. And I don't mean to keep going back to it, but that's something that we always have to keep in track here with this, because when you see this go down, and you're seeing how the Jedi are reacting.
Me too.
This is just kind of a wild scenario to see that Yoda is just trying to act like everything. It's like that one meme or from Animal House when Kevin Bacon's going, all is well, all is, everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Guys, we're fine. Everything's fine. How are you?
Yep, we're good. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sure enough, everything is not fine. And as we're seeing how this is playing out, Yoda is sitting there getting angry. But then it's like all of a sudden the realization happens that we all know was going to happen. And that turns out, well, the guy he brought on board is not exactly who he seems.
I see what you're talking about.
Dan, you ain't got no eyes.
Yeah. And he's just sitting there thanking Yoda for setting this up and letting it happen.
This guy he just looks, look at this man. He's got claws. He's charred, crispy coal. He's got no eyeballs. He's got those stupid glasses. Like, what about him screams not traitor?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me theorize on this.
It's always the guys you most suspect.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think that because, like I said, there's a good 150 some odd years before Empire and all, how everything went down with the prequels, do you think that, yes, Yoda did go down the same path, but that's why he's a little more apprehensive come the Clone Wars?
I mean, a little bit more apprehensive, yeah, but he couldn't see the dark side still because he's blind. I'm blind. I can't hear you. I'm blind.
Yeah. I mean, that's something too. He tries playing that off, that he just completely worked yoga. This is something that, watch him do it. This is the usual suspects to me.
Yeah.
Just the entire time. He's Kaiser Soze. He literally gets on there. He sneaks in. And he's just doing this, and Yoda is so blind to it, and it just made me question everything going on with the Jedi around him. Like, how did nobody else pick up?
Not for nothing, but like, again, going up to Revenge of the Sith when Anakin's like, hey, Mace, Emperor Palpatine, this dude, the Chancellor, he's the Sith Lord. And then he's like, all right, well, if this is true, you stay here. If it's true, then great. I'll finally have trusted you. And it's like, that's not the right way to go about this, man. You idiot. You should have brought him with you first of all or something. I don't know. But that's future. Again, Yoda was very much like, hey, you know what? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, but still shame on me because here we go. Oops, I did it again.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's how it wraps up for chapter 1.
I played with the Force, got lost in the game.
You got to do it in Yoda speak, though.
Oh, man.
I did
lost in the Force. I don't know.
Lost in the Force.
Karaoke night on Turn a Page as we all try to sing Yoda karaoke about being
killed some youngling.
That gave me some inspiration. This is giving me some inspiration for something else we'll talk off air. But obviously, there's a lot of things going on with this story. I think good overall, how Soul sets everything up and really is giving the audience something to build off of. And like I say, the creative team here really did some excellent stuff going on. Robertson's art, I think, was very on point, really captured the essence of Star Wars, especially with a lot of the facial reactions that you see Yoda go through, because it's really more or less a centered Yoda story at the end of the day.
It is.
But it's not a Skywalker story. And
No.
that's a good thing.
I like Yoda. That's fine. I also really like the way that they drew like their robes. They're clean. They're very clean in this era. Their lightsaber hilts are all very vastly different. Like the one lightsaber hilt that they build, she's like, "This is the last hilt I hope to ever build," basically. And I thought that was very unique. And there is a lot of good things in this. Like Charles did a really good job, especially kicking off. He's done a really good job with the High Republic. I think taking a lot of care in it, and his team, especially in this issue, did a really good job.
I think, and going off that, Matt, I really do have to agree with you that the fact that we really see in this era, as I was alluding to earlier, the different sects, the art,
Yeah.
the medics, the so on and so forth. Like you definitely see, what's the line Obi-Wan said to Luke the first time he held a lightsaber, an elegant weapon. You really saw the truest form of the elegant weapon. Because after this, I think this is where you really started seeing that lightsaber technology got real sleek, and it was real sleek, or it was the Graflex special. You didn't get that time and artistry into it. That's just me. That's the one thing I find always impressive about.
I love the different lightsaber hilts, man. It's something that's always fascinating to me. I like seeing the different craftsmanship. You're right. It's elegant.
Mm-hmm. It's an elegant weapon. Also, a very good Star Wars person to follow too. If you haven't, he loves lightsabers.
Definitely. So that being said, I mean, we talked about the good things about this, but we gotta be honest. Let's talk about the bad. So starting with you, Tom, what was some things you didn't like about this book?
Yoda.
Understandable.
You guys already hit on all of it. I mean, just the audacity, the blind rage out of people that should not have rage, who literally got fooled by the blind, who does rage. There's an analogy for you if you've gone with my train of thought. All
right, Matt, how about you?
I think the one thing I just didn't like is it is predictable in an end. As soon as they said this guy does dark side stuff, I'm like, come on, he's up to no good. So it's the predictability of it. Aside from that, yeah, Yoda was Yoda. I liked how the Jedi were interfighting, and there was a lot of different viewpoints coming from this tragedy that happened, because how do they handle it? And you kind of see how they handle it. It wasn't good. I don't have a problem showcasing how they handled it. Was it right or wrong? That's not for me to say, but I just didn't really like the predictability of, hey, guess what, this guy's going to betray you, because guess what, he betrayed you.
Dun, dun, dun.
I would have liked if they didn't say he was a dark side user. I guess if he was something else, then maybe
a little gray.
But the second they were like, yeah, he wields the dark side, I was like, come on, man, we already know.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I mean, I think the only things I didn't like about this is very predictable. And also seeing just how one person out of the entire Jedi, crew was the voice of reason, and yet nobody else was stopping him from doing what he was doing. And like I say, it seemed like at this point, there was just too much trust in Yoda that nobody wanted to kind of ruffle feathers, especially seeing what's right in front of them. And that's somebody that tapped into the dark side. You can clearly see there's something, different about him, that maybe we should be a little more apprehensive before we allow him to get on a ship to go investigate a scene that obviously our biggest beacon of hope just came crashing out of the solar system. Yeah. So kind of, doing that, I thought it was a little telegraphed in that sense. And that did take me out a little bit. But once we get to the end of this, is like, okay, there's still enough for me that I want to come back in and I want to go check it out. But I just like just that little stuff there too, especially knowing the temp in the room, so to speak. I just thought it was kind of like a little odd characterization from certain characters here. But hey, that's my take on that. But that being said, it is grade time. Tom has his calculator out, so he'll be able to tally everybody what's going on here. So Matt, we will start with you. What is your grade on Star Wars: The High Republic, Shadows of Starlight #1?
I thought it was a strong issue. I thought there was a lot of good stuff in it within the art, within the writing. So I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10, just because the predictability of it, right? That was the only thing that kind of detracted it for me. But overall, I like this. I like seeing refreshing takes and refreshing stories. So easy 9 out of 10.
All right. Tom, how about you?
I gave it an 8.3.
That's interesting.
Go-
All right. 8.3.
Yeah, it was okay. It was predictable. There was nothing really in it that was like, wow. It's still a adequate Star Wars story, but is it going to change my life? Am I going to like go out tomorrow and buy an elegant weapon, or
I wish I could buy a lightsaber. I actually do have one,
but that's what I'm saying. Like it's not life altering. It's not, oh, hey, I'm going to pull my robe down at the end of Solo and, oh, hey, it's Darth Maul. That's cool. That one surprised me. This one, no.
That's I see where you're coming from.
No, that's fair. So for me, this had a lot of things I did like. I'm a big Charles Soule fan. I really like a lot of his writing. I thought, though, for where we were going with this, I understand it's a setup issue, so I have to keep that in mind. And seeing from where we got from the beginning to the end, it just kind of seemed that this started diving in a little bit more into where Yoda is, per se, than where the rest of the Jedi are. And especially with how really impulsive and, reactive they were, it just kind of seemed like it clashed a little bit for me. And it really, we had the predictable moment of the big villain getting revealed to being who they are, then it really kind of took it out. And really, it showed premise that I definitely want to go, and I'm reading number 2 now. So it didn't take anything away. I just have to remember that as I'm going through with it, because there's a lot to go into about maybe there's some other ploy that Yoda allowed this guy to get on board with the ship and get, really taken in there. And like as Pat said, you can't go wrong with any High Republic story, novel, or comics. And I agree. Like I've dabbled in a little bit of this universe. I'm still not an aficionado like my co-host there that you see on the screen. This is something that I thought really made a solid impression, and I definitely want to go back and check out more. So for my grade on this, though, I did give it an 8.5. I think that, yeah, just for being a solid intro with a little predictability, but knowing Soule and knowing the creative team, it still makes me want to go back and read it. And that's always a good sign that not every issue or first debut is going to be a home run, but is there enough that I want to stick around for the next inning? Like that is where I kind of judge number ones in a limited series. Is there a hook that it has me interested? Yes. And after seeing the reveal of whatever happened to that guy at the end, I was like, okay, I want to come back for more. So tallying all those up, Tom, the grade on this is
8.6. Believe it or not, 86, my favorite number.
Nice. I almost did give it an 8.5. I bumped it up just a little bit, but I almost did. I was almost 8.5. So
no, that's completely fair. And definitely super chat, throw your picks into as well. Like your grades on this. If you read this, we definitely like to see the interaction about it, because this will be something you want to keep your eye out for on New Comic Book Day, which happens tomorrow.
DC Tuesday, though, today.
Yes, which definitely shout out to Max from Vigilante Vibes podcast. He reviewed the DC Pride 2024 anthology issue. Fantastic interview, fantastic issue. Definitely shout out to Max. He's not done this week too. He has something else lined up to drop tomorrow. But along with the rest of the chat, we definitely.
There you go, Megan. You know what? I see. We're back on solid ground.
Yeah, I would say it's a definitely 9. I definitely want to see Pad's grade on this too. Yes, Max TaP absolutely crushed the reviews this week. I said one is already dropped now with the DC coverage, which is blowing up right now too. And tomorrow he has a very special X-Men issue coming out as well. But that being said, we have to go around and give our picks on this. So we'll start with Matt. What are you talking about this week?
Oh, Universal Monsters, Skybound Entertainment, and Image with their Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives issue number 2. I love me the Monsters universe that they are building over there with this trio of publishers. This one is obviously the creature from the Black Lagoon. It's picking up where issue 1 left off, and we get a lot of really cool art sequences in this particular book. A lot of meshes of colors, the greens and the reds, the way that the art is really just detailed with the jungle that we're playing in. It's a really, really solid building off the foundation from issue 1. It's a
Bye,
very,
Mom.
very solid
I
addition
love you.
to
Yeah.
this franchise.
I'll exclaim it on the internet. I love you.
Hi,
Mom.
Tom's mom.
Hi, Tom's mom. Good night. I have to agree with you. Everything Skybound's done with the Universal Monsters series thus far has been lights out. And it's something that if you're slightly into horror icons, this will be something for you. I think a lot of the stories have had really original takes. The Dracula one definitely caught me off guard because I have never been a super big fan of Dracula. But to see what the team did there, I was really, really impressed with. Next up, Tom, your pick?
Wow, like we're surprised. It's Power Rangers. I know. Oh my god.
Boo, get some new material.
Well, actually, I can't not with this one because Mighty Morphin Power Rangers: The Return, issue number 4, is the finale of Amy Jo Johnson's run, doing her own narrative, her own storyline, in her own pocket of the Power Rangers universe. This takes place slightly in the future. I've reviewed every single issue so far, and trust me, this is a very interesting ending. Dare I say, more phenomenal.
Ooh, that's very, very high praise. And definitely it's chat, super chat, throw your picks into what's everybody picking up at the LCS this week. A lot of great deals going on with a really stacked lineup too. For me though, there's been a series that I've been following since it came out, and I'm one of the biggest fans of this era of comics, and that's the Krakoan era in X-Men. And it is all coming to an end really, really soon. This week is Rise of the Powers of 10, number 5 by Marvel Entertainment. And this is the bookend to the 2 starter books. They really kicked off the Krakoan era. A lot of things are happening here. Being somebody that loves X-Men 97, this issue has a lot that I truly, truly enjoyed. And I'm going to say, I've always been excited for the X-Men line, but I'm really excited to see where we're going after this because there's so many good books that have been announced for the summer. And it's going to be bittersweet seeing this era end. Obviously, this issue is the penultimate issue. I would say it wraps everything up, for the fall and the rise. But X-Men 35 next week is actually Legacy 700. Wow. So that is going to be a big issue as well. So, like I say, it's a bittersweet time to be an X-Men fan because obviously we had X-Men 97, which was such an amazing run. And to see how the Krakoan era is coming to an end, it makes me, the old school X-Men fan, super, super excited. So definitely want to make sure you keep that in mind at the comic shops this week, along with the rest of the Nerd Initiative Bullpen, because we got reviews dropping 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Boop. And there's a lot coming out this week. So definitely you need recommendations. You should be going over there right there anyway to go see what everybody's talking about at the comic shops so you can walk in and know what to go get, because obviously a lot of these are going to be flying off the shelves this week. Yes. Trust me.
Very much.
So that being said, Matt, why don't you let everybody know what is going on with you and Hopsky News before we get out of here?
Definitely. Lauren comes to town in 2 days. We're going to be hanging out. Her and her family bringing it through. So follow the socials. We'll be out there visiting breweries, going to Busch Gardens, doing whatever else. Megan, if you ain't going to happen Friday, I think maybe we're going to Busch Gardens. Bring the family down, man. We'll all get together. But aside from that, we recorded 2 episodes. So our next episode will be our conclusion to Star Wars month, where we talked about the High Republic to get you ready for Acolyte. We just dropped an episode about the Sith. And then we also recorded an episode recapping the first 3 seasons of The Boys to get you ready for The Boys coming out. I am hoping to get some post Acolyte episodes going for Nerd Initiative, and I know Pad's getting ready, and Tom, they are talking about doing some things, so stay tuned with the Star Wars articles, and then anybody who reads our reviews, man, thanks.
Absolutely. Tom, what's going on with you?
Well, I'm just hanging out. I'm 5'10", 200 pounds. I like long walks on the beach. But in the meantime, you can check me out every single time here on the Nerd Initiative. Click that QR code, because here at the Nerd Initiative, We love our QR codes.
Yes, we do.
But in the meantime,
We
you'll
do.
see me on Nerd Initiative's TV Talk every single Monday. We're talking Who right now, Who in review. It has been going really well now that I got all the technical difficulties taken care of. But aside from that, then we follow up on Tuesday here with Turn a Page. And let's just say I've got things rolling down the line.
Oh, what could it mean?
Dun, dun, dun.
I know, but I can't tell you.
I don't know. Someone will find it in their perception.
Ooh, has he said too much? Before we get to
Someone
mine,
give me a bluff check.
definitely shouting out the Vigilante Vibes podcast in the chat
Yeah,
too. They got a
man.
QR code. I hope that Megan and Max know about that too. Big episodes they dropped this week, so make sure you go follow them. And like I said, the reviews they're dropping this week absolutely are crushing. So you want to make sure you're picking up the books they're talking about this week as well. And as for the ODPH, well, we got one episode that came out this week and a lot of reviews and things in the works that I wish I could talk about right now, but I can't. So stay tuned. Click on that QR code, and yeah, you won't miss a minute going on with the parlay of topics each and every week because we got a lot that definitely is in the works. And
Ken,
like I
where
said,
else can we find you here on Nerd Initiative?
well, I'm glad you brought that up because you can find me here every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Turn a Page. But every Thursday night Eastern Standard Time, you can find me, New Guy Nick, and Rich from 3FN
dropping in from the top rope.
talking a lot of pro wrestling because we definitely did an amazing job this weekend. It was a long weekend between two shows, one of which getting over at 12:30 in the morning, folks. And we still did that after show for you. So, you know, we're giving you the best we can in the world of pro wrestling. So you want to make sure you're following that. And as we said before, we'll say it again, make sure you're following Nerd Initiative. Get signed up for the newsletter, subscribe on all the social media accounts. There's a big 2024 ahead. There's a few things there we have not yet announced, meaning new shows, new creators, new. It's new era of nerds, so you definitely want to get on board with that. So sign up for the newsletter. You won't miss a minute of that. We've already talked about the Nerd Initiative merchandise, so if you definitely want to be rocking some of that in the summertime, you never know when you need a hat, you need a cup, you need a hoodie, you need a shirt.
You're going on riverboat gambling trips. You need one of those cups. Or if you're on the beach and you want to have an adult beverage, you can put it in one of those cups. You got to hydrate. Put your water in one of those cups. You need a hat on the beach too. That's crazy. Look at that.
Yeah.
You got it all.
It's crazy, but that's what we do here. But most importantly for this channel, like we say, we have 5 programs coming out this week on here. I love seeing the programming. I love seeing the creators really stepping up and giving the fans what they've been asking for. And that is more content here on Nerd Initiative. And especially on the YouTube channel where we definitely are pushing because there is exclusive shows that are just coming there. They're not going to be going on Facebook. They're not going to be going on Twitch. You want to make sure you're signed up. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, click the bell notification for the latest and greatest of when the episodes are dropping so you don't miss a moment of the content, and tap that thumbs up to let the boss know that you like what you see here at Nerd Initiative.
I like what I see here. Nerd
Don't get me
Initiative.
fired, please.
Yes. So that all being said, on behalf of Matt and Tom, my name is Ken. Thank you as always for joining us for Nerd Initiative's Turn a Page. And remember, when you're at a comic shop and you have a great issue in your hands, such as Star Wars, The High Republic, Shadows of Starlight #1, and you see somebody struggling to find something, hand yours off to them. Tell them turn a page. We'll see you guys next week.
I'm out.